There's one thing I highly recommend you do when you're starting your video, and it could save you a lot of frustration later on in your edit. Let's say you're someone who edits video clips with the audio already attached, meaning you don't have to do any syncing in post. Let's say you like to throw your clip or clips down on the timeline, you add your audio adjustments to make it sound good, you do some color correction and color grading, and you get to cutting your footage. What happens when, down the road, you decide that your audio just doesn't sound as good as you thought? Or you realize that you want to add another color adjustment to your footage? You're in a tough position because you can't just make the adjustment on one clip. The others won't be affected. So you'd have to make the adjustment on one clip, press Command-C to copy those effects, select all the footage that you want to apply the new adjustments to, which sometimes can be mixed in with other footage. This timeline is a simple one just for this example, but it can be trickier if you have a more complex timeline. And then you'd have to go to Edit, and using the Remove and Paste Attributes button, delete all the effects, and then add all of those new updated effects. This process is unbelievably time-consuming, so there are two solutions that I highly suggest doing. If you don't need to do any syncing of audio with your video clips, throw your clip on the timeline and hit Option G to make a compound clip. Rename it what you want, and hit OK. Then double-click that clip, and now add all of your audio effects like your compressor, channel EQ, plugins that you use, and create your color grade and add different video effects. Then hop back out to your main timeline by pressing the back arrow. The reason we did this is because now, after you cut up the clip the way you want, if you decide that you need to remove or add an effect, you don't have to do that tedious process that we went over in the beginning of the video. You just double-click one of the clips, and you have your original uncut clip with all of your video and audio effects easily accessible. So you just make those adjustments. I'll just make a crazy adjustment here for this example. Hop back out to your main timeline, and all of those clips, even though they've been cut, have now been changed. Now, if you're someone who records your audio and video separately, like I do, you may be thinking, okay, so I have to select my clips, right-click, and hit sync, then throw the clip on the timeline and make a compound clip. Don't do this. Although it still works, there is a much easier and more efficient method. First off, if you need to sync audio and video, I highly suggest not using the Synchronize Clips feature. The reason for this was well explained by my long-haired buddy Dylan Bates, and I'll link his video in the description. But basically, if you don't make a compound clip, and you just hop into your synchronized clip and add the effects to your audio and video, it seems like it would work the same as a compound clip. But the issue is that once you cut up your clip, those sections are now detached from each other. So if I hop in and adjust my exposure to a crazy amount, you'll notice that it won't affect the other clips when I back out. So my suggestion, if you have to sync audio and video, is to always just create a new multicam clip instead of using the synchronized clip feature. That way, any adjustments that you make inside the multicam clip will affect all your cut up clips when you hop back out to the main timeline. And no need to create any compound clips like you'd have to if you wanted to use the synchronized clips feature. The multicam kind of already is one. Also, if you're new to multicam, it is important to note that before you start cutting, you'll need to hop into your inspector window, go to your info inspector, make sure you're on basic settings, by the way, and change the active audio angle on your multicam clip to your good audio, so your clip doesn't play the camera audio. This should save you a lot of annoyance later in your edit when you realize that you want to change some things. Another way that you can improve your workflow is learning how to try out different looks and color grades almost instantly, and this under 2-minute video will show you how to do that. Have a great rest of your day, guys.